I run 40 rear like the manual says. That line has destroyed more Harley tires than bad roads ever will. 40 pounds per square inch is what Harley calibrated for maximum load, rider, passenger, full bags, and a tour pack. Most of you ride solo, not carrying that weight. And I have watched Dunlop D407s burn through center tread in 8,000 miles because of it. Here is what that single number is actually costing you. Harley-Davidson's own manuals lay the numbers out in black and white. 36 PSI front, 40 PSI rear, measured cold. But those figures are not plucked from thin air. And they are not just a suggestion for a Sunday cruise. They are calculated for the bike's maximum gross vehicle weight rating, what the engineers call GVWR. That means a full-sized rider, a passenger, saddlebags stuffed to the gills, and a loaded tour pack. In other words, every pound the frame is rated to carry, all at once. The service tables in the 2025 Softail manual spell it out. Rear tire at 40 PSI is for the maximum load, not your average solo commute. The touring manual adds the same note. 40 PSI rear keeps the tire safe when you are pushing the weight limit, not when you are riding alone. Harley's logic is simple. One number covers every possible scenario so nobody ends up underinflated when they pack heavy. The rear tire does most of the work, carrying about 60% of the total weight, which is why its pressure is set higher than the front. These numbers are conservative by design. They guarantee the tire can handle the bike at its heaviest with a safety margin built in. For most riders, especially those who rarely go two up or haul full bags, running maximum load pressure every day means riding on a stiffer tire than necessary. That is not just a comfort issue, it is the first domino in a line of mechanical consequences that can hit your wallet and your ride quality. Run 40 pounds per square inch in the rear tire when you're riding solo, and the first thing that shrinks isn't just your comfort, it's the contact patch. That's the only bit of rubber keeping you upright, and it's where all your braking, cornering, and acceleration get transferred to the road. Physics is simple. Load equals pressure times patch area. When you keep the tire at 40 pounds per square inch but drop the load, say just you and maybe a light bag, the patch area contracts by about 25% compared to a fully loaded bike. That means your rear tire goes from gripping with about 36 square inches down to just 27 square inches. You end up riding on a strip so narrow it can feel twitchy or even loose in the corners, especially on rough pavement or in the wet. Less rubber on the road means less grip, and every bump or pothole gets transmitted straight through the chassis. Riders describe it as harsh, almost like the bike is skating instead of sticking. That small patch also wears faster right down the center, setting you up for premature tire changes. It's not just about ride quality, it's about how much control you actually have when you need it most. I put together a complete Harley longevity handbook for Harley-Davidson owners trying to get their bikes past 100,000 miles. Oil interval schedules for twin cam and Milwaukee 8, cam chain tensioner service schedules, clutch and primary belt survival rules, proper RPM settings for long rides, all the stuff Harley barely explains in the official manual. It's called the Harley Longevity Blueprint. Point your phone camera at the QR code on screen right now or grab the link in the description. Every week, I get at least one customer rolling in with a rear tire worn slick down the center at barely 8,000 miles. Most of them are running that 40 PSI number solo because that is what the sticker says. I will pull the Dunlop D407 off, show them the invoice, $250 to $300 installed, just for the rear. Add the front, and you are staring at a bill north of $500. Some of these guys ride 15, maybe 20,000 miles a year. At that rate, they are burning through 2 sets of tires every 12 months. Easy. That is a $400 to $600 penalty year after year, all because the center keeps wearing out long before the rest of the tread even gets a chance. I have seen shop receipts from riders who could have doubled their tire life if they had just dropped the rear to 36 or 38 PSI when riding solo. Over a few seasons, that is enough to buy a set of pipes or pay for a long weekend on the road. The numbers are not theory, they are right there on the invoice, and they add up fast if you do not adjust for your own weight and riding style. For most solo Harley riders, the sweet spot isn't what's printed on the sticker. It's a range that matches your actual load. The numbers that keep coming up, both in the shop and on the forums, are 34 to 36 pounds per square inch up front and 36 to 38 pounds per square inch in the rear. That's cold pressure checked before you ride. This isn't just theory or a guess, it's the pressure band that saved hundreds of riders from burning through tires way too fast. Take a look at any long-running thread on HD forums or Facebook groups and you'll find the same advice from guys who ride every day. Drop the rear to 36 or 38 pounds per square inch when you're solo and the mileage nearly doubles. One rider posted his Dunlop D407 went from 8,000 to almost 15,000 miles after making that change, and the tread wore even across the width, not just down the center. The front follows suit, 34 to 36 pounds per square inch, keeps the contact patch wide enough for real grip, but not so soft you chew up the edges. This isn't about chasing a magic number, it's about tuning your pressure to your own riding, and seeing the payoff every time you check your tires. The difference is real, and it's proven by riders who've put it to the test, not just what's printed in the manual. Fuel economy is one of those things riders notice in the wallet, even if they don't track every fill-up. The Department of Energy puts a hard number on it. Every single pound per square inch you run above the ideal costs you about 0.2% in mileage. On a Harley that averages 45 miles per gallon, keeping the rear tire at 40 PSI when 36 would do can waste almost a gallon of fuel every 1,000 miles. Over a year, that is 21 gallons gone. And with today's prices, that is enough to pay for a weekend ride or a couple of shop oil changes. The savings aren't just on gas. Lowering rear tire pressure to match your solo weight also shortens stopping distances. A rear tire at 36 PSI can pull up 3 to 5 meters shorter from highway speed compared to the same bike at 40. That is the difference between stopping in time and sliding into the intersection. The rule of thumb is simple. Start 2 PSI below the manual's rear number when you're riding solo. Add 2 PSI for a passenger and another 2 for loaded bags. That keeps the tire in its sweet spot, enough pressure for safety, not so much you are burning money in tread. Riders who tune their pressures this way see real-world gains. Better grip, smoother ride, less money spent on fuel and rubber. Next up, the tools and checks that make this routine easy. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next tip. A reliable digital tire gauge is essential for every Harley rider. Pencil gauges designed for cars often miss by 2 or 3 pounds, enough to undermine careful pressure adjustments. Digital gauges, accurate to 1/10 of a pound, remove guesswork and let riders see the real number. Tire pressure should always be checked cold before the bike leaves the garage or the sun warms the rubber. Heat from riding or sunlight can raise pressure by several pounds, leading to underinflation if adjustments are made while the tires are warm. Factory tire pressure monitoring systems, or TPMS, are often misunderstood. On modern Harleys, the warning light only activates when pressure drops about 25% below the manual's cold specification, roughly 30 pounds per square inch, on a rear tire rated for 40 pounds per square inch. This means a tire can run 5 or 6 pounds low for weeks before any alert appears. TPMS serves as a last line of defense, not a substitute for regular checks. Monthly manual checks and checks before long rides remain essential for safety and tire life. Temperature shifts play a quiet but critical role. For every 10 degrees Fahrenheit the temperature falls, tire pressure drops by about 1 pound per square inch. A tire set at 36 pounds per square inch on a 70 degrees Fahrenheit morning will read 32 pounds per square inch by the time it is 30 degrees Fahrenheit out. Over time, riders can fine-tune their pressures by tracking tread wear, adjusting by 2 pounds as needed, and settling into numbers that suit their riding style and conditions. Every Harley manual prints 36 front and 40 rear cold, but those numbers keep you safe at maximum load, not solo. Run 34 to 36 in the front and 36 to 38 in the rear for solo riding. Check with a good gauge monthly and watch tread wear over 1,000 miles. Your tire, your cash, your ride. Dial it in. Subscribe for more straight answers.